Hello, friends, and welcome to Ripley's Aquarium of Canada. Today, we are looking at our bonnethead shark feeding. My name is Danielle, and my camera operator, his name is Toki, and we are coming to you live from Ripley's Aquarium of Canada. If you have any questions throughout our broadcast, please type them in the chat, and we will get to those at the end. So we're going to start off with our land acknowledgement. Ripley's Aquarium of Canada acknowledges that we are on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaties, signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. Friends, we are going to be watching our wonderful bonnethead sharks get fed. One of the things that you can see right now with the feeding is you can see that these animals have, well, right now you're looking at our spotted eagle rays being very big camera hogs, but you can see there is a yellow lid attached to a pole. And that yellow lid is our target for the bonnethead sharks. So the bonnethead sharks are what look like a tiny hammerhead. And they will come towards this target, touch it, and then they will get a food reward. This is actually how we feed a lot of the animals here at the aquarium, is by target training them. So they know to go toward a target to get some food. You can see the food here is some squid. Oh, there's a shark coming by, very quick to get their food. And yeah, oh, look at the squid sticking out of their mouth. That is one of our bonnethead sharks. And they come right over to us in order to get the food. They do absolutely love squid, so that is why they are coming around. But here we also feed them fish and shrimp as well. And they do love white shrimp too. The bonnethead shark is one of the smallest sharks that looks like a hammerhead. The largest one is the great hammerhead that grows over 6 meters long. This one would only probably reach 1.5 meters, depending on how long their parents are. Ours are all full-grown females, and we only have 4 of them. So you can see our bonnethead sharks and their mouths opening and closing. That's really awesome to see. One of the cool things about the way the hammerhead shark family is shaped is that they have that funny face shape. So that funny face shape, we call that a cephalofoil. Many of you might be wondering, why do they have a face that's shaped so big? It probably makes it hard for them to swim because their head is huge. And it makes a lot of drag. And you're right, compared to most other animals, other fish, their drag is actually 20 to 40 times increased, which is really hard to swim. But sharks in general are quite good swimmers. They have a cartilaginous skeleton, which is quite light. You have cartilage in your bodies too. It's in your nose and your ears. And it allows you to swim, it allows you to float a little bit better. So sharks are really good at floating. They're not very heavy. And also, they have a lot of senses in their head. So because their head is so wide and flat, it means that the senses in their head are actually really spread out. So their sense of being able to smell and see is very spread out. So they can actually see their depth really well. They have really good binocular vision. They can see a lot more around their head than most other animals can. They are able to sense weak electrical impulses in the water better. So if you have heard about sharks and stingrays, you probably know that they have an extra sense called electroreception, and that allows them to sense weak electrical impulses in the water. So if you think about a shellfish that is hiding under the sand, or an animal that is just being really still, they can actually sense the heartbeat of those animals and easily gobble them up. And having a large head means that those pores where those sensors are really spread out. So it makes it much easier for them to sense where their prey might be hiding. And they have their nostrils farther apart. So their sense of smell is a little different. So instead of having 2 nostrils next to each other like we do, their nostrils, which are called nares, are actually really far apart from each other. So they can tell which nare the smell enters. So if it enters from their right side, they'll know because the smell goes in their right nare before it goes in their left nare. And they can tell where the food is. And they're really, really good at sensing. And because they're so good at sensing, their brains are actually larger than most other sharks, so that they can gather all this extra information. And some of the larger hammerheads, like the great hammerhead, which is the largest, they have adapted different ways of using that funny shaped head. So the great hammerhead actually uses it to pin stingrays to the ground. I'm going to see if Toki can see a southern stingray for us. I don't know if there's any there, but southern stingrays are one of the larger stingrays we have here. Oh, there's one right there, that big stingray. They look like pancakes. Those ones are what a great hammerhead would normally like to eat, and their head is about the same size as the width of that animal's body. So what they do is they use their hammerhead like a hammer, and they hammer and pin stingrays to the ground so that they can catch them and eat them. And that's what a larger animal would do with their hammer shape. This smaller animal, the bonnethead shark, is only going to use their small hammerhead in order to sense where their food is and to see a little bit better. They also are extremely good swimmers. So although their head creates a lot of drag and makes it harder for them to swim, they actually can turn really quickly. And if they were to move their head up or down even a little bit, they would swim quite a bit faster, and they'd be able to cut through the water really easily, which is not true for a lot of the larger sharks. This type of shark is a ram ventilator, which means it has to swim all the time in order to breathe. And these animals are never going to stop swimming. So anytime you visit an aquarium or you see a video of a hammerhead-like shark, you will see they are always swimming, because that swimming motion allows the oxygenated water to go over top of their gills and allows them to swim, allows them to breathe that oxygen into their bodies. So here at the aquarium, if you ever come to visit, you probably have maybe touched a stingray before. They're wonderful. They love being touched. They're really comfortable with that. But we never let you touch the sharks in this habitat. And that is because the sharks always need to swim in order to breathe. So if you ever visit our aquarium and you touch the stingrays, that's great. Please do not touch the sharks. They do not like that. They're not comfortable with it, and it does prevent them from breathing properly. And I empower you to share that with other people if you see them touching these animals. So the bonnethead sharks, although they are a small type of hammerhead, they're not going to grow any larger. People are still afraid of them. These animals, I know a lot of you might be afraid of sharks as well, but they're just misunderstood animals that get a bad reputation from movies and TV shows and stories that get blown out of proportion on social media. So just so you know the numbers, around over 150 million sharks will die every year because of people, and only maybe 8 to 10 people die every year by sharks, which is a very small number, and it's usually because the shark was really hungry or confused and mistook a human for something that they would normally eat. A bonnethead shark likes to eat shellfish and small fish, and also has been found to eat seagrass, and is the only omnivorous shark. So it's not going to try to come after people. They do have sharp teeth, like all sharks do. My friend Toki has some teeth that he can show you, and we can show you some of the teeth that we found here at the aquarium. So we have the sand tiger shark tooth. That's the long, skinny one with the points. And the one that's a little curved and flat, that is from a sandbar shark. And a sandbar shark tooth is very similar to the hammerhead-like shark's teeth. A bonnethead shark's teeth is going to be much smaller than what you're seeing there. We actually have a tough time trying to find their teeth in the habitat because they just blend in with all of our rocks. Thank you so much for sharing those teeth, Toki. A healthy shark will lose around 1 tooth every meal that they eat. So we end up finding them here. We have sand tiger sharks in our aquarium, in our different habitats. So those animals will lose their teeth all the time. You can always check them out on our live cameras whenever you would like. This is our link to our live cameras. Just check out the many different habitats that we have here at the aquarium. As well, because I know a lot of you are wondering how sharks are doing in their natural habitat. Well, the bonnethead sharks, and actually most of the sharks in the hammerhead group, are either endangered or critically endangered. And critically endangered is one step up from extinct in the wild. So all of these animals do require our help. And one of the main reasons why there are so few sharks out there is because for the longest amount of time, people have been unsustainably fishing and taking out extra animals from the ocean, which is part of the food resources for sharks. But also, The way that people fish is not very good. So they take a big net off the back of a boat, drag it through the sand, and catch everything in the path. So that includes animals that can't really swim away, like corals or barnacles or anemones, but also it would catch animals that you very much care about, like dolphins, sharks, turtles, seals, otters. They could all get trapped in those nets. And most often, only the animals that are brought into the boat the fisher person actually wants are the ones that are kept, and all the rest are thrown back in the water. And that would include things like sharks. And a shark like this cannot survive being brought out of the water and thrown back in because of that need to always swim to breathe, that ram ventilation. A lot of shark populations have decreased in the past few decades by 80 to 90%. And if that makes you sad or mad and makes you want to take action, there are easy ways to do that. One of the ways is to share what you know about sharks. If you know sharks are not actually as dangerous as a lot of people think, share that information with someone, even one other person that you share with today. That will make a big difference in their lives. Also, what you can do is think about the food that you eat. So this is the website for OceanWise. It's ocean.org. And this is where you can find information on the fish that you eat from grocery stores or restaurants or fish markets to see if we're actually helping or hurting the natural population. So you can ask questions like, how was this animal caught? Was the environment destroyed when they caught this animal? Did they catch a lot of extra animals that were thrown back in the water and may not have survived? This actually makes a big difference because we eat fish. It's one of our natural resources, and we want to make sure that there's enough for all of us to share this food with all of the lovely animals. And of course, you can come and visit us and learn more about these animals. So bonnethead sharks are one of the sharks that we have here, but we have, I think, 13 different species of sharks in total here at the aquarium. So if you would like to share and learn about these animals, that would be amazing. Bonnethead sharks are one of my absolute favorite sharks here at the aquarium. If you have any questions, you can type them into the chat. I can see it, and I would be happy to answer any of your questions. I do love all of the support that I'm seeing in the chat. Thank you so much. And those are our cow nose rays coming to say hi. They can definitely see Toki there sharing sharing with them. All right, I don't see any questions popping in the chat. We will be doing live feedings, hopefully every Thursday. So if you want to pop back in for our next one, which is seahorses, it will be next week, Thursday. We will be happy to meet you there. So thank you so much for sharing and learning with us today. And we hope to see you again. And please share all the stuff you learned about sharks today with at least one other person. Bye, friends.